stupidest reverse chokes I've ever had. What am I doing wrong? Oh God, what am I doing wrong? Oh my God, what am I doing so wrong? just can't believe that was it. I fully was expecting more chokes on whatever that slider section is, Enter the Spider-Verse or whatever the fuck. Eight-legged freaks. But I was fully expecting a Red Hourglass 3 choke. At least one. I was expecting probably one in both 3A and 3C, and I scathed by without either. That is fucking awesome. I don't exactly know where this ranks on the FC chart in this game. Is it harder than Sudden Death? I can't say for sure. It kind of turned out exactly like I thought, where Sudden Death has the hardest individual sections. Solo B is the hardest section in the game, bar none. But man, this song just has so many sections that fuck you up, and it's hard to grasp that when you're just doing practice like I was until I FC'd Sudden Death. I hadn't done any runs on this, and in practice, you know, outside of again, I would have got this back in the day if it weren't for Red Hourglass 2B. I just did not understand how... I thought the section was just completely broken. I didn't understand how it functions at all. I still really don't. I understand why I thought that way and why the section is kind of broken. It's because of this engine, in a similar way that slider notes in previous games at the very least, unlike the World Tour engine, allowed you to hit notes beyond the current one on the strike line, and that's why those sections feel so broken. This entire game engine kind of operates on that same logic, where the reason, you know, for instance, why 2B is so fucked up is because it's that singular red into singular green strum. And what happens, I didn't realize until, you know, finally watching back footage of recording practice sessions, is that you end up strumming the red note past the green. So it's like you do a red to green fret, but the game just eats your or the game just hits the red note past the green strum, and so you just miss there. And so my method for this, obviously you can hear it, I strum everything, but I start it pretty early to give the most amount of room for that green note to activate. And you know, it's the same kind of logic for verse 2 in Sudden Death. But yeah, this took a healthy amount of hours of attempts. I really thought I was going to get this yesterday. I started runs on this. I did probably an hour-ish of runs after FCing Sudden Death. In between getting that and Ties That Bind, I was doing a big practice / starting runs on this. And I did probably an hour of runs of this today. Yesterday I did about 3 hours of runs. And I really thought I was going to get it pretty early on. I think my first run of the day I made it to, again, that slider section. I actually think it's called like Spider Walk or something. Let me just look at it right here. Spider Crawl. But yeah, I didn't have as good of a grasp on that section as I thought. The reason I kept missing there is because I would fret a specific sequence, a red-green or a green-red-blue sequence. I thought it was like a triplet, and it kind of is, but I was fretting it like way too fast. For some reason that just never really came up outside of runs, and that's getting back to what I was talking about earlier, where you just do not understand the you just can't understand the weight of some of these sections until you're at them on an FC run, which is, you know, the same with every song, but it's more prevalent with this song just because of how many trouble areas there are. And that's why I wasn't like super put off by this song initially, is just because in practice, outside of Red Hourglass 2 at the time, I really didn't think there was much that was going to give me a big amount of trouble here. One of the bigger sections was the transition from Venom Solo 1 into Root of All Evil 2. Oh god, man, that's just... The method that I use for that now, that I switched to right before getting off yesterday, is really bizarre, and I don't feel like it should work. I basically do an alt-tap method for the blue strum into orange hammer-on, and it doesn't feel like it should work, but I guess because of like extended hit window mechanics, or just, you know, the ability to strum without fretting, that's the only reason it worked. I've used that kind of thing for other sections in the past. I remember the first time, or back in the day when I FC'd Operation Ground and Pound, I used that kind of sequence for Solo to the End, and I guess by extension Solo Fill 2, where I wasn't preemptively fretting the triplets before strumming, which is super risky, obviously. It's just, for this section that I'm talking about, the it's just one of those broken, or, you know, at least very problematic sections where you have hammer-ons leading into a strum, except these are sliders, which makes them even more prone to being fucked up, I'm assuming, which is why I was having so much trouble with it. But I went through several different methods trying to hit that transition. Another section that I had to go through several different methods was Red Hourglass 1C, which never was giving me problems until I started getting there in runs, obviously. It's just really fast, and it's a little too fast for me to one-hand, and it's just awkward to tap on this game engine because, again, it suffers from that, I'm assuming it suffers from that same phenomena of hitting notes before prior notes, hitting notes further in the strike line. So when I tap it, I end up having that issue where I'll be anchoring red and, you know, trying to tap a yellow note, but I'll tap it too early and it will just overwrite the red, and I'll miss there. But yeah, I went through a bunch of different methods on that, you know, towards the end of my session yesterday, and getting on today, I just went immediately into practice mode like always and went through the sections, the treble sections, and I was trying all sorts of different methods of like trying to alt tap like a triplet pattern into, and just nothing was giving me the most success. And kind of the most frustrating aspect of it is that I just ended up using the original method that I had, which is tapping all of the oranges and all of the yellows, aside from the first one. Super Serial B was a huge headache. Again, it's not a section that I pretty much ever missed in practice, but just getting in runs and knowing that I have to hit them slightly early, man, that just trying to keep your timing adjusted on the fly like that when you're under the nerves of a 2,000 plus note streak is very difficult. Serial D is actually one that I did a successful method change on, and that was very, very recent. That was something I pretty much came up with this, like, right before starting runs, where I, for some reason, I just completely lost my ability to hit that section between yesterday and today. And it's a really awkward section because the beginning of it is much slower paced than you feel like it should be. And so my fretting was just very problematic there, but it turns out anchoring green was the answer for that. and it kind of just felt right for whatever reason. It's kind of all that matters. 2B, I'm honestly surprised I didn't have more chokes there, just because the fretting for it is very awkward, and again, paired with that those whole engine issues, it's just, ugh. Yeah, that's a section that I really expected to have more like hand tangling chokes, and I did have my first one today, so that, you know, that may have been from strumming too early, but regardless. I also expected to have more issues with 2C. I recently changed my method for that from using the hammer-ons to just strumming through everything, because just like the end of Root of All Evil 2, which is another huge problem area with those double strums, I just kind of realized that strumming everything on this engine is generally the way to go. And it kind of sucks, but that's just the way it is. I've had so much more success using that methodology on 9 out of 10 sections in this game. But even barring the ending of that section, the beginning of it, where you have that really fast hammer-on sequence, I just tap the orange and then do like a descending alternate tap triplet pattern, and that's really annoying to do on the fly. It's just kind of scary to do that, and you also can overlap the previous notes if your timing isn't right. So on top of that, that leads me into another little thing. This Explorer, for the most part, works well. You know, again, it's brand new, but the strum bar is very sensitive. It's one of those strum bars where you don't have to feel or hear the click to get a strum input registered. And so on 2C, right after that quick hammer-on sequence, when I go, you know, because I'm tapping and I go back to the strum bar and I'm more prone to hit it harder, I've actually, in practice, experienced a lot of overstrumming on the green and blue sustain strums, and that, again, that's just something that just adds to nerves. Thankfully, that did not happen in any runs. I was trying to be very conscious of that, and it paid off. And it's really hard to stay on top of those things when, you know, not only are you so deep in the run, but you're in between two problem sections. Yeah, like I said, I feel like I just got lucky with Red Hourglass 3. I was definitely very close to missing in 3A. You know, I have to use the hammer-ons in 3A, and there's that whole issue that I was having with Sudden Death, where it involves those strum after hopos that I have to do pretty far ahead of time. It's not as big of an issue here, because it's such a slower section overall, but there was, like, I think a blue strum in there that I did very late, and I saw it even reflected on the strike line and highway, where I was just like, I can't believe I didn't miss there. I don't really think I have much more to say. Obviously, score is garbage. I don't really mind not overwriting my previous score. Like I said, it's kind of funny. Oh, yeah, that is something else I should bring up, is that this wasn't as big of an issue on Sudden Death because there's just not that many activations, and there's only one during the solo. But tilting, good God, I hate tilting for these activations so much. I genuinely was on the fence if I even was going to use star power here, because really it doesn't matter. It's not like I was going to get a decent score in any regard, and B, I didn't even beat my old score. But yeah, tilting the guitar just is a huge pain in the ass. I actually had to alter a few activations that I knew would be better, just because, for instance, it's not worth tilting in Venom Solo 1. I don't know if that actually would have been a better act, but I had to change my path, is the point, from doing that, because it would just result in misses. And aside from that, because of the awkward shape of the Explorer. Like I'm using a computer chair with armrest, and when I tilt the guitar, the back of the guitar hits the armrest, even if I'm sitting at like this awkward angle to even make it possible. And so with how many activations there are in this song, that alone was a hurdle, and it was just not fun at all. And again, the whammy bar doesn't really even work anyway, so it's everything related to star power, and this was very frustrating. But yeah, that's it. That's Guitar Hero Warriors of Rock full game FC. At the very least, as far as my YouTube channel is concerned, because if there are any holes in this, it's nothing upload worthy. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this game. I can't really do an accurate ranking, I don't think, of the difficulty of certain songs, just because it's been so long since I've done Fury of the Storm and Chemical Warfare, and it wouldn't really be accurate for me to like go back and try to FC those again, even if I wanted to, just because I already have the proper muscle memory ingrained. So, but if I had to do a quick ranking, again, it's really hard to tell which is more difficult between this and Sudden Death. I think I would have to probably rank them even, even as much of a cop-out as that is. I also just had way more prior practice, I think, with this song than Sudden Death, because I had never even hit solo B in Sudden Death before I came back to this game. And they also took around the same amount of time in runs. Sudden Death might have actually taken a bit more, but yeah, sorry, I'm just kind of rambling here, because, you know, closing out a game. Again, I brought this up in Sudden Death, but in terms of full series stuff, I'm not gonna, like, go through all the boring shit unless I'm able to get I'm the One, but as it stands now, that is the last, like, problem area for this, for the full series FC. So, if I am able to get that, I feel like it's only right that I push through everything that's left. But this is a big step forward to that, if that is to happen.